Hare Krishna. Today we will be presenting the main points of the book Vedanta and the Science of Aging. This book is written by Dr. T.D. Singh. His Holiness Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Swami'book. Dr. T.D. Singh has a PhD in physical organic chemistry. This presentation will be in two parts. I'll be covering the first section of this presentation and the second part of the presentation dealing with the Vedantic perspectives of life and the Vedantic applications of life will be presented in the second part by His Grace Devarshi Das Prabhu, who holds a PhD in theology. So we'll begin this presentation by a quote by Ellen Child, who says, "Old age is a blessed time. It gives us leisure to put off our earthly garments one by one and dress ourselves for heaven." Then I go to discuss the contents of this book. It has got 6 sections. I'll be taking up the first 3 sections, which includes the introduction, the various theories of aging, the attempts for solutions to defy aging. We also talk about euthanasia and the various fields which deal with aging. Then the last part of the presentation will be on the chemical conception of life and its limitations. The subsequent 3 sections, Vedantic perspectives of life, Vedantic applications, which include the integrated spiritual approach, spirituality, healthcare, and Ayurveda, holistic healthcare of body, mind, and spirit, spirituality and healthcare in the West, end-of-life care, dying. Conclusion will be taken up in the second part of the presentation. This will be given by His Grace Devarshi Das Prabhu, who is a disciple of Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Swami'book. Let me now come to the introduction. The introduction in this book deals about 2 concepts of life which are very different from each other. The first concept deals with the materialistic scientific community concept about life. So here, life is mostly regarded as a product of the interactions of various molecules. We deal about genes, so different genes, different bodies. This is what the scientific community believes life is all about, integrate the mixing of all these molecules. Whereas the spiritual community believes in an entirely different concept where life is accepted as a divine particle which is fundamentally different from material principles. So the concepts are different, so also the approaches to old age and dying are different. Like a materialist who believes life to be a combination of molecules, when he reaches old age, most of these materialists feel they are neglected and they're usually placed in old age homes. So most of them are depressed or simply waiting to die. There is no training for old age and the dying for a materialist. So usually they are very fearful of death. Whereas on the other hand, a spiritualist, when he approaches old age, they have become trained. And this book writes that they are advanced in spiritual realization and knowledge. So usually they are not afraid of dying as they are properly trained, spiritually trained. Then we come to the theories of aging and the attempts for finding solutions to delay aging or to stop aging for that matter. In this part of the book, it is written that dying is the process of approaching death as well as the choices and actions involved in that process. All around the world, we have thousands of laboratories who are doing research on aging and dying. We have fields like gerontology and geriatrics. Gerontology is a scientific study of the phenomena of aging. Geriatrics is a branch of medical science which deals with the prevention and treatment of diseases in older people. The book also writes about the various theories of aging. There are about 300 theories of aging, and these theories are divided into two categories. First, we have the error theories of aging. The second, we have programmed theories of aging. And the first category, that is the error theories of aging, there are a number of theories under this category, of which the very popular free radical theory comes under this category. So workers believe that aging is external to the workings of the species, and some mechanisms must exist whereby the cells or tissues of the body are attacked by an environment assault. This comes under the error theories of aging. So an external agent is required to produce aging. So this is what these theories explain, the error. It could be a free radical injury to the body, which brings about aging. It could be mitochondrial theory of aging, wear and tear, cross-linking, error catastrophe. Then we have the second category of aging, that is programmed theories of aging. Here, unlike the first category, this is because of an internal mechanism which brings about aging. So under this we have the famous telomerase theory. So we have the concept under this theory that aging is internal to the species and is the natural and expected result of a purposeful sequence of events written into the genetic code. So we have various theories under this category, which includes the Hayflick limit theory, telomerase theory, neuroendocrine theory, somatic mutation theory, differentiation theory, immunological theory. So this theory says that it is because of our genetic makeup which decides whether we get a long life or whether we have a short life, the shortening of telomeres, etc. So this theory says that something inside is responsible for bringing about aging in the body. But having studied these two theories, two categories of these theories, Dr. T.D. Singh again asked this question, how to live our old age? Here, the family is given a lot of importance here. If we have small families, there is a risk of isolation. Large and extended families, more social security and care for the elderly people. We can at least expect some sort of social security if the elderly people have a large and extended families. And this book also tells us about euthanasia, writes about euthanasia. This is sometimes proposed as one of the solutions in extreme cases among the aging and dying. Euthanasia is the assisted and intentional killing by act or by omission of a dependent human being for his or her alleged benefit. It is also termed as mercy killing. In many countries, euthanasia is legalized. But the important question is euthanasia a solution in extreme case among the aging and dying? This will be better explained in the second section. Now we come to the last part of the presentation, the chemical conception of life and its limitations. In the scientific world, we believe that life comes from matter. So here's a quote which says, when the bodies of living organisms are chemically analyzed, we find that they are primarily made of 4 chemical elements: hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon. Chemicals such as water, proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, and nucleic acids constitute about 90% of all the molecules present in the body of a living organism. So having analyzed all these molecules, it is very tempting to conclude that life could be a product of complex chemical reactions. So based on this concept, practically all research around the world on life's origin is focused on generating the small and large biomolecules that make up the bodies of living entities. But an immediate question arises as whether a DNA or RNA molecule is life. Will a combination of synthetic biomolecules lead to life? If life is made of chemicals, what is the difference between live and dead? Do scientists really study life? According to modern biology, the smallest unit of life is called a cell. The cell is the structural and functional unit of life. All living organisms have cells. Organisms such as bacteria and protozoa have a simple cell, whereas higher living forms like human beings have billions of cells. In the case of human beings, each cell has 46 chromosomes and about 3 billion DNA subunits. On the average, each cell in our body forms 2,000 proteins. We can imagine the enormous rate of activity and the complexity in the biological cell. Scientists in the field of biology study life and its origin in terms of these biomolecules. They attempt to generate a living cell by combining these molecules, biomolecules. Various models have been proposed for understanding how life might have generated from chemical on Earth. We have the famous Miller's theory. So people who have worked on this area include Oparin, Fox, Keynes, Mead, Miller, etc. Then we conclude this by quoting some famous Nobel laureates in physiology and medicine. One is from Werner Arber, who is a microbiologist who's done a lot of work on recombinant DNA, and now we have the contribution coming from him in the form of gene therapy in modern day medical sciences. So he writes here, although a biologist, I must confess that I do not understand how life came about. To me, autoreplication of a macromolecule does not represent life. Even a viral particle is not a live organism. It can only participate in live processes. And we also have Albert St. Georgi, Nobel laureate in physiology and medicine, who worked on vitamin C. He says, "In my search for the secret of life, I ended with atoms and electrons which have no life at all. Somewhere along the line, life has run out through my fingers. So, in my old age, I am now retracting my steps." Dr. T.D. Singh concludes in this section by saying that thus the chemical or reductionistic approach of explaining life as an emergent property of matter is insufficient. It has blocked the resolution of many issues related to aging and dying. This misconception limits the end of life care as solely a medical issue. So, there is something beyond medical issue that we all have to deal about, and what is this will be seen in the second part of the presentation, which describes us, which tells us about the Vedantic perspectives of life and the Vedantic applications. So I end this session here. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.